Hello guys, good morning. In this whole video, we will discuss about TCP header, and for your kind information, we have already discussed what is TCP, and there are some other element such as source port and destination port in TCP header. Now in this whole video, we will try to cover sequence number and acknowledgement number, these two rows. Clear guys? Now look at this figure. This is a TCP header. Here we have discussed about source port. Source port, that means information about source. Now this is information. Destination port, that means it is the information about a receiver side, and this is a source port. This is the information about sender side. Now here we are discussing sequence number. What is the sequence number? First point, and we will tell you the sequence number field is used to identify order of the data segment being sent. That means some data which is sent, suppose this is a sender and this is a receiver. Here there are many segments, and first segment is here sends with SYN flag 1. Suppose that, because TCP is a connection oriented, that means it first establish the connection, then it transferred the data, then it terminates the connection. Now this is the process. Now here SYN goes, that means this segment is here there are many bytes in each segment, and each bytes has some initial sequence number, initial unique identifier number. Suppose this is a x, next byte will be x plus 1. So suppose the last byte of the segment, this is a n. Now here receiver received this byte, receiver received this segment. So sequence number, this is the point, this is the sequence number. So you can define this. You can say that sequence number is a number of first data byte. It is the number of first data byte of segment. Clear? It is the number first data byte of the segment. Now here a receiver receives this. Now if this receives, this will send some information to sender. This will send some information to sender. Then what it will send? First point, what it will send? It will send, because it has received this segment, so first it will send acknowledgement about this segment. Whatever this receiver received. It is the duty of every man. If you receive anything, then you will tell me about about you, that you have received or not, you got the message or not. This is the real culture about you. This is a morality to understand. If you create a friendship with any other, and if you are reliable, if you have a reliable, that means you work as a professional, that you have received or not, you should have confirmation about this. So acknowledgement is just as a confirmation. That means here this received, this segment is received by receiver. Now in this acknowledgement number indicates that here there are two things here, sequence number, acknowledgement number. If you acknowledgement number, here also ACK flag, here SYN flag, here SYN flag, here ACK flag 1. It is not acknowledgement number, it is a ACK flag because it provides acknowledgement that we have received. So ACK flag is just as a ACK. If ACK is set 1, that means we have acknowledged, and if SYN flag is 1, we have synchronized. Clear? This is the meaning of flag. Now we will tell you detail in this flags row. Now what is acknowledgement number? Here we have received and this receiver want to next byte. So what will be next byte? This next byte will be last byte of, here we can say that ACK number is n plus 1. If we say any ACK number is n plus 1, this is a, yes, this is a we can say, we can define what will be the definition. This is a next expected byte number. This is a next expected byte number. That means this segment is received. Now there are another segment here, and this is a n plus 1. So it gives information about next expected byte number. That means I have received, now send me another another segment, send me another, and it will start from n plus 1. This is understanding about this. Clear? So definition and acknowledgement, if you try to understand this geographically, if you assume this, there is here, suppose that this is a sender, that there is a receiver, and connect correlate the things about each other, then you will be able to understand about sequence number and acknowledgement number. So next expected byte number. Now can we say another definition about this? Yes, you can say. That means what? It is the feature. You can correlate the things. You will say the same things in a different manner, because here this is not very tough. This is not critical, because this is a simple from mathematics. Now we can say it contains sequence number of data. It contains sequence number of data byte that receiver expects to receive next from the sender. Again, it contains sequence number of data byte that receives expect to receive next from the sender. Here we are saying the same things. This is a sequence number as well from the sender, and here before this it say about the same information, and in backend, that means it predefined number. It is just a predefined number. So in other way we can say sequence number of the last received data byte incremented by 1. Clear? Sequence number of the last received data byte incremented by 1, that is defined as a acknowledgement number. This is the last byte of sequence number, and if we increment this number from plus 1 by 1, then it will be acknowledgement number. This is the basic understanding about this definition. Clear? Now here you will be able to understand the range of sequence number acknowledgement, because this is the field of 32 bits, this is the also field of 32 bits. Then what do you understand about this? Clear? So sequence number, that means this is the range. We can we will create a choice, because 0 to 232 minus 1, that means it is a range. It is the range of sequence number as well as ACK number, that means acknowledgement number. Why we are emphasizing on this point? We have discussed in source port and destination port, there are a range will be, here range will be 0 to 2 power 16 minus 1, that means 65535. That means we have a possibility, we have a probability to provide a more number. That means we can change again different type of number, we can use different type of number. Clear? So we have a choice to write different type of number. Clear? 2 power 32 minus 1 type, we can change any number. Now there, why we are emphasizing this? Because there is the problem. If you try here, you should understand about this is a sender and this is a receiver. Clear? Now here we will write, this is the sender and this is the receiver. Now I want to tell you, if 2 power 32 sequence number are used, because there is choice, the 0 to 232 minus 1. Now if 2 power 32, that means there are number of sequence number. How many sequence number you can create? How many sequence number you can create? We can create 2 power 32 sequence number. Clear? Then that means when more data is to be sent, then every sequence number is every byte number has a different type of sequence number can use. Now can be wrapped around, used again from starting, because suppose that here this is the fixed time, and when you send the data, you got 1 point, because here suppose that 0 to 32 possibility you used, then what will happen again, and before used you again start from, so there will be overlapped condition, and that means you should send after the possibility. If you will send after possibility, then never will happen this condition. So we need a time, we need a gapping, we need a time which is wrap around time, because if we do not follow these rules, then same sequence number with wrap around. Clear? So here we will tell you what is wrap around time, that means wait. This is the important point. So wrap around time taken to use up all the 2 power 32 sequence number is called wait. So here we are also saying, here we have used this 2 power 32 sequence number. There are possibility. Or before this, if we start the again and we finish this, before finishing we use this, then there will be possibility to the same sequence number will be overlapped, and there will be big problem if data is not received from receiver. Then if sends acknowledgement number and some there thunder and bottlenecks for the connectivity, and then if data is not received for receiver, then it will be like which uh, which data is has, if there are many sequence number and which is the same, who can send which data, where is the sequence number, here is overlay. You cannot decide which will be true. This is received from before, that this is received from after. Which is true? Which will which will happen before? This type of this data will first come first, because this will, data will come first. This type of question is thinking in your mind, thundering in your mind. So about this type of time we use generally, it is not it is the depth part of in computer and in get classes, but it is, if you try to understand in computer networking CCNA perspective, then you do not need more information about weight. But because you are a science student, so you should have information about. Now we will create the formula for this. Weight is 2 power 32 by x second. Why we are writing here? Now weight depends on bandwidth of network. Here bandwidth 1000 byte, 2000 byte, MB, gigabit, how many times we are using. Now bandwidth, bandwidth, what is the bandwidth? First, what is the bandwidth? Bandwidth means rate at which the byte goes out. Rate at which the bytes goes out. Here this is the wire, and at which rate this byte goes out, at which rate this byte goes out. Suppose there is x byte and x byte per second, 1 second x byte goes out. So byte is a time, there are 2 power 32 numbers, so that means we can consider as a distance, and here time equal to distance upon speed, and x byte per second as a speed. So 2 power 32 by x second, that is the byte. That means x byte take 1 second, x byte take 1 second, then 1 byte takes 1 by x second. So 2 power 32 bytes takes 2 power 32 by x second. Clear? This is the understanding about. Now that means lifetime of segment should be less from weight. Lifetime of segment should be less, otherwise there will be problem to wrap around time. Now generally this will not happen, but rarely it will happen. If it will happen, this information is given in option field. This information is given in option field here, this, in this option field. Clear guys? Now we have discussed about more about sequence number and acknowledgement number. This is enough to understand, and we will meet you on next episode, next lecture, where we will try to cover up this layer, which is very important: data offset, reserved, and flags and window. So wait and watch. Thank you guys.